Year 1893. A 12-year-old German boy lost his parents forever. Before leaving, they left him some money, which was later stolen while he was traveling. Even his parents' business wasn't spared. Despite losing everything, one thing still remained: his unstoppable passion for watches. The passion that helped him build the world's greatest watch company. This is the rise of Rolex watches. Following his parents' death, Germany's 12-year-old Hans Wilsdorf became an orphan, and his life was filled with darkness. During that time, his relatives sold his parents' business and sent Hans to a boarding school. Here, he befriended a Switzerland's boy who informed him a lot about Switzerland's watchmaking industry. And after knowing all this, Hans felt a voice inside telling him that his future belongs to this industry. That's why, in 1900, at the age of only 19, he left Germany and shifted to Switzerland. There, he found a job at a watchmaking company called Kuhne Korten. He was tasked with checking the accuracy of hundreds of watches daily, and this role made him passionate about creating perfect watches. And in 1905, he founded the Wilsdorf and Davis firm. The first thing he noticed was that travelers really needed to carry a watch so they could catch their buses or trains on time and reach their destinations without delay. That's why he launched a pocket watch specifically designed for travelers, and he named it the Portfolio Pocket Watch. And as the company's first product, it turned out to be quite successful. Even though Hans started his company by making pocket watches, but he never wanted to make pocket watches forever. His prediction was that in the future, wristwatches would completely replace them. That's why Hans shifted his entire focus toward creating world-class wristwatches. But the problem was that customers of that time weren't ready to accept wristwatches. Their perception was that wristwatches are only worn by women, and Hans wanted to change this perception. In 1906, Hans saw that both men and women in Britain loved wearing bracelets. Seeing an opportunity, he introduced gold and silver wristwatches with metal straps that looked just like bracelets. These watches were not called wristwatches, they were branded as bracelet watches. The strategy worked, and his watches quickly became popular across Britain. Hans also noticed that most watches carried their manufacturer names as their brand name. But now, Hans wanted his watches to have their own name. He wanted something short and unique, which could be easily pronounced in any language. After testing over 100 name ideas, one pleasant-sounding name came to his mind, and this name was Rolex. He officially trademarked it in 1908. Till 1910, Hans used to import the movements of his watches from Switzerland, but now, Hans decided to make his own movement. He immersed himself in the study of horology. He met with expert watchmakers from around the world and made himself a master of watch movements, and then developed his first wristwatch movement, 15-line caliber 200. He sent it to Switzerland's official chronometer testing institute for certification. There, it went through rigorous testing, and after that, it became the world's first wristwatch movement to receive the chronometer certificate. Basically, Hans had successfully developed an accurate wristwatch movement. This innovation greatly boosted Rolex's reputation, and now his watches began to get exported in other countries. By 1914, Hans had opened several Wilsdorf and Davis offices and built a team of over 60 talented people. The business was growing fast, but then a major event stopped their growth story: World War I. To survive this crisis, Hans had to move his entire company to Switzerland. Till now, Rolex was just the name of his watch brand, but after moving to Switzerland, he changed the company's name to Rolex Watch Co. Limited. But still, Hans wasn't satisfied, because wristwatches at that time had a big problem. Their accuracy used to suffer if dust or water got inside. Hans now wanted to solve this problem. He decided to create a watch case that would be extremely tight, so tight that its movement would never be damaged by dust, heat, and most importantly, water. And after years of hard work, he designed the Rolex Oyster. Launched in 1926, this watch was revolutionary, and that's why promoting it required a revolutionary marketing strategy. Hans heard about a swimmer named Mercedes Gleitz who claimed that she could cross the English Channel by swimming, and she was about to do it in front of world's media. Hans contacted Mercedes and offered her the role of Rolex's first brand ambassador. To promote the waterproof capabilities of the Rolex Oyster, Mercedes attached the watch to her necklace during the swim. Her attempt started off really well, and after nearly 10 hours of swimming, she had covered almost 80% of the English Channel. But unfortunately, she became completely exhausted and had to be rescued. Her swim wasn't successful, but when the Rolex Oyster was checked afterward, it was still in perfect working condition. Even though the attempt failed, Mercedes Gleitz became widely popular for her effort, and along with her, the world's first waterproof watch, the Rolex Oyster, became famous too. In 1928, Hans hired the British star Miss Evelyn Leigh as Rolex brand ambassador. In the ads, Evelyn would be shown wearing Rolex Oyster with her hand dipped in a fish tank. This unique marketing strategy made Rolex Oyster's waterproofing features popular, and this took Rolex success to the next level. In 1931, Hans Wilsdorf introduced another revolutionary breakthrough to the world of timekeeping, the first self-winding automatic wristwatch with a perpetual rotor. This innovation eliminated the need for manual winding, using the natural motion of the wearer's wrist to keep the watch running continuously. This watch was designed to run automatically, perpetually, and that's why it was named the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Before it, many had tried creating automatic watches in the past, but Rolex was the first to do it successfully. Perpetual watch made Rolex and Hans Wilsdorf, legends of the watchmaking industry. In 1945, Rolex completed its 40th anniversary. On this occasion, Rolex launched a new watch, Rolex Datejust. It became the world's first automatic waterproof watch that used to display the date. By 1960, Rolex had launched several more revolutionary watches. In 1953, it launched the Rolex Explorer, basically designed for mountaineers and explorers. It was a strong and almost unbreakable watch, so that they never have to worry about the watch getting damaged. In 1955, Rolex launched the GMT-Master. It had a rotating bezel and was mainly designed for pilots, helping them keep track of multiple time zones during flights. And finally, in 1960, Rolex launched an experimental watch called Deep Sea Special. It was designed to withstand the extreme water pressure of the deep sea. And with this, Rolex had established itself as the king of watches. Whether it was the heights of Mount Everest or the deepest points of the ocean, only one watch brand had the capability to handle every extreme condition in the world, and that was Rolex. With Rolex, Hans had achieved everything that no other watchmaker could even dream of. And in 1960, at the age of 79, Hans Wilsdorf said goodbye to the world forever, and left behind a legacy that will be remembered forever. A watch brand that redefined time itself. This was the story of Rolex watches.